Are we live? Tell me what you want from me. Are we live? I wanna see all you mean. Yes, we are. Wait. Alright, tune in time. We try. These niggas rap like they got chewing tobacco in their mouth.
Choosing that Texas.
One, two, three, four. The goat niggas. The goat niggas. I don't know niggas. You gonna lose your best hitter. What the fuck is that? Hello, coach. I mean, touchdown. Shador, Sanders, go. Touchdown, Shador, touchdown. And we're here, man. Listen, a day late, dollar too early, however you want to call it. Late night, man. Me and the great host of the hostess, my boy Snake Eyes. We're a little behind, man. The draft was Monday. We are now on Thursday, early morning tip, late night, early morning show, if you want to call it that. Jam-packed late night show, man. That's going to carry over into the lunchtime special tomorrow. But for right now, man, I guess I always start my draft recaps off and have conversations on, how the draft go. As we sat through the draft and watched guys take select player after player after player from rounds 1 to 7, and then after we watched that go down, then we decide to see, what's going on amongst the league. The main topic is as we in season 4, the premiere show, episode 1, we start to think about things like who's out there putting in work right now, what young boys is doing what they do, our diaper dandies. We like to hear and see, the growth of guys' teams at this point. We're a season away from that first draft class being guys that are looking to get their second contracts or move on. However it goes, we want to know. That's the whole thing. It's just who knows what's that. So my segment tonight is Snake Knows. That's one of our segments, and you've been hit as another segment. But these rookies, man. All right, so Snake, we had some rookies at the quarterback position that came out. We talked about it, before the draft happened. We talked about the quarterback position and what type of quarterbacks were in the draft. Would you agree with me that this was a weak quarterback draft?
Yeah, definitely. This was definitely a down class, a down year for quarterbacks.
But would you say there were multiple guys that got drafted at that quarterback position that we could talk about that should be starters in this league right now? Or was there reaches going on? I mean, Malik Murphy went to the 49ers at 28. Um, we had a couple of quarterbacks dressed to impress and sat in the green room, and some of them left and had to wait for their names to be called. at their houses, a couple days later.
Got
Um,
that Will Levis treatment.
mhm.
Klubnik.
Man, like the number one quarterback that was on the board was Klubnik. Where did he go? I mean, he went to Baltimore in a
Baltimore.
situation where I'm quite sure he was happy his name got called, but being a five-star
Damn.
quarterback and the number one quarterback in the 22 class coming out of high school, you were the number one quarterback in your class. And, been a five-star and, on three and
No chance
24/7
to
and all this
start.
goes. And you went to a situation where you're going to sit. I mean, does Lamar Jackson make it to his second contract, third contract as a Baltimore Raven? I mean, he was just paid a few years ago. There's no way in hell Klubnik will be on the field for Baltimore anytime soon. Then you had guys like a interesting story in the Jalen Milrow, who during the regular season got moved to receiver and flirted with flirted with
Tight
being a
end.
tight end. And then he goes to the combine and he tells the entire world that he will not be running routes, running the 40 time. Heard this story before. And he's here strictly to play quarterback.
More.
And we heard that story before. Then we had some guys, that got taken, and some was legacy players, that people remember who they were. I don't know if they thought they were getting the same type of kids from, a couple of real drafts ago, where these kids were in high school, so their grade out was a little different. And you had guys like Eli Stowers who went to the Patriots, who we saw, trying to figure out their quarterback situation. I mean, their quarterback has been to the playoffs 2 years in a row since his rookie year. He's been in the playoffs. And I don't even think he starts over there anymore. I mean, before we can go anywhere, we got a lot of conversation to be had at the quarterback position alone. So as I go to the roster and depth charts and sort it out by age, like we always do, hang with me for a second here, Snake, and let's talk about the quarterbacks that made their NFL debuts as starters from that class, from the Diaper Dandy class, from the 2025 draft class. So you had guys like a Drew Aller, who is now Atlanta Falcon. And I think this was a hell of a pickup because they got him. They didn't have to reach to get him. This was a guy that was sitting in the green room. They had to reach to get him, and Ritter doesn't have to make it through that second contract at all. They got a serviceable quarterback. To me, he's a guy that if he sit for a couple of years, he'll be ready to be a star quarterback in this league. I think he has the ability to be a starting quarterback in this league. How you feel about the Atlanta Falcons going to get a guy like Drew Aller from Penn State, who the media was saying was the best quarterback Penn State had in a long time. But my question to you is, sixth round. Is this I'm not gonna call it
15,
Tom
6th
Brady,
round.
I'm not like that, but sixth round. If you look at the Falcons, and as we continue to talk about this quarterback for a second, you look at the Falcons and you look at Desmond Ritter, right? Um, are we looking at a quarterback that's coming up for contract, or was he
Uh,
paid? Like, what are we looking at here?
I think it was coming up for contract. Uh, he hasn't been paid yet. Let's see.
So right now, Ritter,
Contract year.
this is
Yeah,
a
go ahead.
contract year for him. Wow. I mean, so sometimes you start to you ask yourself about GMs in this league and all that, and you think that the Falcons ownership and their GM and things that, all their personnel that make decisions over there wasn't thinking about their future by drafting Drew Aller and getting him in the sixth round, might I add.
And
Vikings.
also with this game, you gotta ask, does Ritter want to come back here? The franchise been losing. It's part of the game when you out or just having a couple of bad seasons. So, does this season success hinge on that as well? 'Cause look at his motivation. He got some redness in there.
Packers.
So negotiation at position, no player has tags. Franchise quarterback will not be replaced by their team until later in their career. So scheme fit vertical, that's red. Warm weather, he's yellow there, Georgia. This doesn't seem like a quarterback that's very interested in playing for the Atlanta Falcons going forward. So then you start to think about Drew Aller getting picked in the sixth round. They got a guy that if they did go in a different direction, this team made a whole lot of trades and built their team through uh, the free agency and trading more than they did through the draft. And in my opinion, money is going to be the situation that determines Desmond Ritter and the Drew Aller conversation. So I absolutely like the Falcons making this pick, especially in getting them in the sixth round. This was a hell of a pick by Shoguns. Would you agree or disagree with me there?
Great pick. Oh, good pick in the sixth round. Death, whether it's death or competition.
Yeah, I think they built some competition and I mean because you got to think about it like this. If you the GM for the Falcons and you get to the sixth round and you see a first round talent, a top 50 kid in that draft class sitting there still on the board, you got to think that this is not only a big win. This was a what the hell was the other 31 teams doing for damn near 5 rounds of drafting. Because again, we haven't seen this type of play since the Eagles did it with KJ Jefferson and Jalen Hurts situation, right? I would love to pluck the commissioner, the GM's brain a little bit and find out, what really went into this pick. Like you said, is
Sixth
this
round. Sixth
depth,
round is best player available.
right? But is this, like you said, is it depth or is it competition? I think the latter. I think it's competition. I think it's smart. It's playing with that money to understand that if this kid can give us anything of what Ritter has given us over there. I mean, what has Ritter actually done for the Falcons since he's been the starting quarterback over there? You're looking at a quarterback that's only 3 points under when it comes down to overall 87 though versus the 84. I mean, 96 throw power versus a 93, and he ain't that far off in all the regular attributes. I like the situation over there. I don't see him getting on the field this year though, right? Like we don't see him playing this year. Like he'll hold the clipboard and then they'll make a decision at the end of the year if they want to bring Ritter back or not. But in my opinion, they have the quarterback in their room right now. Like we wouldn't see them drafting a quarterback in the first round, such as what the Eagles did, knowing that they're not going to bring Desmond Ritter back. And is there any chance that Desmond Ritter come back and get the contract?
Chance he can still come back.
Especially with the market being set the way it was by those quarterbacks in front of him that got paid. The market's set, man. I don't know if Atlanta want to pay a quarterback that hasn't been in the playoffs yet, a quarterback who doesn't have a winning record. Um,
Titans.
I don't see them, invested in him anymore. To be honest with you, um,
Depends the money he's asked for, what they can reach for. They might play the long route, let him go out there and try to get a contract and see if he gets signed in. If he don't, bring him back in immediately for the low. So
yeah, sure,
they got at least they got options now.
yeah, they got options. All right, Malik Murphy. All right, the strong arm bandit, Malik Murphy, Texas to Louisville. Malik Murphy goes in the first round. Was he the
Go
only
right in there,
quarterback that went in
start.
the first round?
Uh, I believe so. I believe so.
Malik Murphy at what pick did he go? I think 28 or 29 he went. Pick 29 in the
18,
first round.
29.
And this was the Philadelphia Eagles pick that they swapped. Remember,
Oh, that's right. They did swap.
they swapped and moved back in the draft. So to me, to do that, to make a move to go get, like, I mean, all right, let's talk before I'm not going to go off topic about quarterbacks, but the 49ers sent their first round pick, a second and a third round pick to the Philadelphia Eagles to get running back B. John Robinson And then at 29, Malik Murphy was in that deal as well. So they went and got Bijan Robinson and Malik Murphy. Did they just secure their backfield?
Yep. Up, big time upgrade.
Now we know he's the starting quarterback as of right now. 78.2 QBR, 421 yards passing, one touchdown, two INTs. I don't know if he's playing full time football right now. 58%, 9.2 yards a play, 210 yards a game. Is he the starter over there, or is he? They still flirting
I
with
would
the other
think so.
kid?
Starting right away. I think the disconnect or something gave
Let me ask you
back
this:
games.
them not having to sign a quarterback, and they got a guy, that they gonna be able to deal with for a 5 year stretch. The 49ers, they gave up. I mean, obviously they gave up picks for the draft that just happened, but they are in a situation where now they have their running back, they have their quarterback, and they also have their wide receiver. They can continue to build right now over the next few years. They can build around that the talent. They got the three triplets, right? They got the receiver, the running back, and the quarterback. They could build around this and really,
Definitely,
really do something good with this
definitely
football team.
upgraded. Definitely upgraded at quarterback, bringing guidance about where Trey Lance has developed to on the same level, but he has a superstar ability.
Right.
They franchise tag Trey Lance this year. So Trey Lance won't be getting signed back
Yeah, Trey
via
Lance
free
is
agency.
he's out of there.
Uh,
He'll be a clipboard holder as well.
Somewhere,
But
maybe in
but
Chicago.
but we found out. Ooh. But nah, I think Chicago is they kind of all in with Justin Fields right now.
I'm
I
messing
got
with my guy.
Ian Rappaport got the word from the Chicago coaching staff that
Didn't they
they're
draft another quarterback too? Though we gonna get
yeah.
there.
Yeah. All right. So we go. Hudson Card goes to the Jaguars in a situation where Hudson will be a backup quarterback behind the $300 million man of Trevor Lawrence. So Hudson Card. But I'll ask you this question: could Hudson Card be a starter in this league?
Possibly one day he'll be a career backup. Really, he'll probably be a career backup. But he could definitely be a starter. Somebody need a quarterback. Need to go get him.
All right. Eli Stowers goes to the New England Patriots.
Yeah,
Eli Stowers go to the New England Patriots. Let's take a look at Eli for a second
they
here.
got two. They got two rookie quarterbacks in Jacksonville.
Yeah,
Got
Jackson. Yeah.
Carson Beck,
Yeah, that's the effect of not drafting. Being
not
6.5
drafting.
hours in front of us, not drafting, and the computer take the best available players. They got two quarterbacks over there. Eli Stowers, man, secondary attributes. We told you he was a dual threat quarterback, 90 speed, 92 excel. When it comes down to passing, not gonna like the scoreboard out with bombs over Baghdad. Although he can make the deep throw. He's really good off the play action. Throwing on a run, he's good. At the end of the day, he's a dual threat quarterback. But is that dual threat enough to sit down DTR for Eli Stowers? I don't think they, spent the high draft pick on him at all. I think, third day pick. Yep, third round. Third round pick 21. Um,
They let DTR go to free agency and picked him back up. Found his way back in New England. So
I mean, with number 24 on, yeah, to me, you're not the guy over there. He's another guy that's playing. He's playing right now this year, but I don't think he's the full time starter over there. 84.6, and then you ask yourself, are they flirting with disaster in the sense of playing two quarterbacks right now, 426 yards, or this could have been mop up duty, clean up duty, whether they were winning or losing the game big. Maybe this could be mop up duty too. Three touchdowns, four INTs, been sacked 6 times, 51 completion percentage. I don't know if DTR loses the job here. I think this is a guy that you know they want to take a look at and see what they can get. They see if they can get something out of him, then fine. If not, he'll be a backup. And rightfully so. I think this is a quarterback that should be a backup in this league. Hold the clipboard and get better. Simple as that. All right, you got Jacoby Criswell. We know Joe Burrow's over there. We know this kid won't be a starter there. Cade Klubnik. I would think the Ravens will have at some point they might have trade capital here, trade bait. I mean, you're dealing with a superstar quarterback once he unlocks. Um, and again, when you don't draft or you're not on there to set your board or anything like that, they go get you a quarterback in the second round. And Baltimore could have used a whole lot of things outside of a quarterback. But Klubnik right now will be a bona fide backup, um, flat out backup. But I think if I'm the Ravens, I'm trying to move this guy. I'm trying to see if there's a guy out there that needs a young rookie superstar quarterback that has the type of roster around that could put a roster around this quarterback and have him play meaningful football right now. I do think Cade is a future starter in this league if he goes to the right team. I just don't see how the Ravens GM staff looks at this guy as you know as a guy, right? Because Lamar is there. As long as Lamar is there, there's no quarterback position available to nobody else. He's the guy. Nobody else is getting it. He's the guy flat out. So Cade Klubnik, I mean, he's a bona fide backup this year while he's on their roster. But if I'm a team out there that's looking for a young quarterback to be a franchise starter, look, franchise quarterback, day one starter, he's just not that in Baltimore, Snake. If I'm looking for a quarterback, I'm not. I don't have a problem coming after a Cade Klubnik. What about you?
No, anyway, definitely deserve a shot. Be a full time starter in the league.
Yeah, I definitely think he should be a starter at some point. We'll see what
But it's just a Baltimore thing. Best player
yeah,
available.
yeah. We'll see what Ozzy and them boys do over there, man. With the Klubnik. The Klubnik. Cade. Cade, throw me the ball. All right, so let's go on.
DK.
Next quarterback up on this list right now is Andrew Body. Now, part of me likes to pick. The other part of me is like, what are we doing? But kind of understood it. Like, to me, if you draft Andrew Body with Malik, what's his name? Not Malik. Yeah, Malik. What's their quarterback? The Bucks quarterback. I was ready to say Malik Hornsby, but it's not.
Um,
How the hell I'm forgetting the
oh
quarterback's
damn,
name?
Willis.
Yeah, Malik
Damn,
Willis. There you go.
Willis. Yeah.
All right. When you got a Malik Willis in the building already, we know he's the starting quarterback over there for the Bucks. So you ask yourself, what was this pickup about with the Andrew Body pickup? I mean, they got the fastest dual threat quarterback in the draft. To me, he could be a starter, like flat out be a starter for a few teams in this league. But he's over there with Malik Willis. To me, he's a backup. And so then I ask yourself, looking at it from their GM glasses, they drafted themselves a backup quarterback to be able to, that fits their
Play the
scheme.
same type of system.
Yeah, and be able to, do the same things that they do with Malik Willis over there. But I like Andrew by that. See if he have any, outside of preseason, has he seen the field? All right, so 70.1 QBR, 153 yards, one touchdown, two INTs, and he was 33% right now. I think they got time to let this guy develop and grow. Um, but if we revisit this conversation in a season or two, would this guy be fighting for a starting job um, in Tampa Bay? And and if you're looking for a starting job in Tampa Bay, their quarterback Malik Willis will be coming up on a contract as well. So, like, my thing is, do you look at this the same way as we talked about the Falcons in a sense, or am I looking too far into this where he's just a backup? They drafted him to be a backup, and that's what he's trying to do for this team is be a backup. They got him in the sixth round as well. Again, because not a lot of teams really needed quarterbacks. You had some quarterbacks drop, not just drop around or a day. They drop. And Andrew Body was
Oh
one of those
well,
guys.
guess it's a thing to be continued because Malik Willis is in a contract years.
Mm.
Got some contracts coming up. I might have seen that market and said, no, no, no. We gotta have options. I don't know what he gonna ask for. Just in case
Mm-mm.
he does. Let me take a shot.
I mean, this does give them a comfortable option at the backup position, though. Like to me, like if some God forbid something happens to Malik Willis, they got a guy that they should feel comfortable with, especially once he gets up to speed with the offense and what they're trying to do over there. And he get into his playbook and get his homework and studying on. I think this kid can really, bail the Bucks out of any situation you look at it on field, gameplay wise, or GMing where Malik might not get that first contract, although they invested in him second with 2 seconds. My question would be, Andrew Body is ready to be like, all right, they're not gonna pay that man. We gonna make them pay us though, so we'll take over. And mm-mm. I like it though. I'm not mad at it. But then you got Ty Thompson that went to the Cleveland Browns, and Ty Thompson is playing significant football right now. And not only is he playing good football, last time I checked, he had two wins. Um, boy, mm-mm-mm. Ty Thompson, he got 2 wins, Snake, and he's the starting quarterback over there. They literally sat Deshaun Watson down, and he has 64 completion percentage right now. Yards for attempt 9, 430 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 INTs. He's not playing bad for this team right now. 3 carries, 70 yards. Did fumble once right now. Um, I'm going to the Browns for a second. I need to know if he's a full time starter over here right now because Deshaun's still here, but Deshaun hasn't taken a snap in a meaningful regular season game since we do know who the quarterback is right now. It is Ty Thompson right now. So that's our second quarterback that was drafted that we found out is a starter for their team right now. And when you say the class is weak, it's just a reach.
Um, System guy. Hoping that he fits into the system.
He got them guys with 2 wins right now. So, I mean, that always matters. The more he win, the
Yeah.
more the more it's looking like he understands some
It's
things.
it's not a reach. He did get him late. Um, Round 4, pick 11. I don't think it was really kind of time to bring in somebody over there to compete with Deshaun Watson, man. Somebody not to jump up there for it. You know what I mean?
Mm,
But you can bring some type of talent in this late. Um, I think that was smart. Got one more year left for Deshaun Watson, so he's not in a rush to play him. But
mm,
it actually is a bit of an upgrade, cheaper. Actually,
yeah,
you could really save about 30 million. Got Deshaun Watson, so like 46 to 18, save about 30 million, like 28 million. So really not a bad
yeah,
idea.
man.
And
I
plus,
agree. I agree. And we talk about NF when it comes down to Cleveland Browns and some of the things they should or should not do. And man, the things that Deshaun Watson was brought in to do for them, they really never saw it happen. But they bring in Ty Thompson, and granted, Ty Thompson just unfortunately Anthony Brown didn't lose his starting job when he transferred in from Boston College to Oregon. And then Anthony Brown is a backup on the Baltimore Ravens team as of now. And then he comes in and he's a backup behind Deshaun Watson. It's been a story of Ty Thompson's career since he's been in college. But, and it's a strong but to this right now, man. 95 throw power, 85 for the most part across the board. All the attributes. I mean, and this guy got good speed, good acceleration. So it's like we are dealing with the new quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. Mm-mm-mm.
third.
I mean, guys is making waves, man. Like this is, again, I'm still calling this one of the down years at the quarterback position, and let's just say what it is. Right now, we found two guys that are definitely starting for their teams right now. And what round was he drafted in again? They came and got him in the fourth round, pick 11. It's a big time pickup right there for them. Shout out to the Browns coach. And then there's Jalen Milroe, who played like he belongs having a starting job. I mean, Bo Nix is there. You got the kid from Stanford there, McGee. Their quarterback room wasn't bad to start with, right? Young gunners in the building, but Jalen Milroe bring way more than just lining up and throwing a football, man. He's an athlete, bro. He's a dual threat athlete. I think he gives the Raiders exactly the type of quarterback they need to be in that RPO game. I think this is, Mike can say this is a bigger hit than Malik Murphy going to the 49ers in a sense. I mean, this is a scheme fit piece right here, Jalen Milroe. And then he not only fits their scheme well and does really good in the system that they have for him. That man has 2 wins right now with a big time win in week 1 over the Houston Texans and Coach Prime and them. They took them out, 18-point win over there. And Milroe had 88 completion percentage in that game. Snake did Young C Hound and that Raiders organization find their guy.
Very well, possibly could have. It looked like it early on. Jury's still out, but definitely, definitely celebrating heavily after these short 2 wins. Just not used to winning at all.
Mm-mm. Uh-uh. And what can a quarterback do for your franchise? It could turn your franchise's fate around, and that's what Jalen Milroe. He's coming from a winning program, bro. I mean, again, you get the top notch talent when it comes down to training quarterbacks, and then Jalen Milroe is a dual threat dog for that RPO system over there, man. Because he's getting comfortable in that offense, and that can be dangerous. All right, another athlete who bounced around a couple of times, man. That transfer portal was big. He goes to the Saints where Will Levis is at. Malik Hornsby, another dual threat quarterback. He goes over there to where the Saints is with Will Levis and backing up Will Levis. Think he's playing in cleanup duty. I don't think in the life of me that they would sit Levis down for Malik Hornsby. I just think this was a good backup piece um, that the Saints grabbed, and they grabbed him in the 7th round. I mean, Malik Hornsby went in the 7th round. This is a good value pick right here. Got yourself a strong backup, and if money is funny and you can't bring Will Levis back, you got a guy that you're grooming for a year or two. So I'm not mad at that move either. I think that especially when you get him that late, it's not a bad move. All right, Carson Beck from Georgia goes to Jacksonville. AJ Duffy goes over there to back up Drake May. These guys went head to head in there in the ACC for numerous of years. Man, there we go. All right, so AJ Duffy is a bona fide backup, and rightfully so. The Florida State quarterback is in Detroit to learn the game and take some more time to develop. Kyle McCord is another one of those guys that had his suit on at the draft and was loving his receiver that he used to play with that he played with in high school and in college, and Marvin Harrison. But I don't think Kyle McCord will see the field with Wilson over there right now. I think the Cowboys have their quarterback of the future. I think this is another piece that's that piece for them. Um, that if something goes wrong over there, God forbid an injury or anything like that, the Cowboys will feel like they have a serviceable quarterback. And Kyle McCord, let's see, is he star or regular? Yep, star. And he got him late as well. All right, so we come down and round up this quarterback room for a little bit. We get down a little farther. We look at Tyler Van Dyke. I'm telling you that he is not going to get no starting snaps over there for the Chicago Bears. I think the Chicago Bears, once they sign Justin Fields, and again, my inside scoop says they're heavily invested in Justin Fields. So Tyler's just a guy that'll be a backup role. But then ask yourself this though: what about the quarterback they had last year that was actually battling for the starting quarterback job at one point? What makes them go get a Tyler Van Dyke? I know you would say best available if it was if we were just being real, just the best available pick, especially if he picked him super late. Let's see what round they got him in. Third round, huh? It's not super late though. Third round. It's a little confusing in a sense, man. When we knew the Bears needed so much help on that roster, and they go get a quarterback in the third round, just mind-boggling to me, especially a quarterback that's not going to play.
He can't even build the ones he got.
Oh my God, Will Rogers, another one of those strong arm spread quarterbacks that comes from Mike Leach's tree. If anything, we know he's holding the clipboard. They got two dogs in front of him, two dogs, and Hartman and Morgan from Minnesota. And I think eventually Hartman will take over the start job in New York on the Jets side of things. All right, that was your quarterback position. Listen, man, guys did a solid job in the draft, in my opinion. I think guys went after their needs. You have to take a look at the Carolina Panthers and understand, not because he's my co-host or he's on with me all the time and all that, but a guy that takes their first round pick and both their second round picks and go O-line is exactly what I've been talking about when it comes down to if you want to get those guys. And then not only just going and drafted a lineman. He understood the lineman he got. Like the one thing guys got to know about my league is that one, yes, it's an editing league. I do not go download rosters. I do my own editing. I do my own research. And if you just do your research on the guys too, you might see some things that I might have missed, and which can turn your guy from a star to a superstar. You know what I'm saying? Or, or even bump him up in points somehow if you find the things. But you guys got to do the research. Can't be lazy and just think things are supposed to be just because they're supposed to be. They're not. You know what I'm saying? Like, you never know what's going on in my draft class because, again, we make them. So, with that being said, you got guys that like the Panthers who understood that he got a top 10 player in the draft on the offensive line. Then he got two of the top linemen from the 22 class, right? We still was drafting guys from the 21 class coming into college in 2021, but the 22 guys are coming out as juniors who had one more year to play. And if their grade telling them to come out early, then you know what type of players they are, right? But if you do your homework, you will understand that. You do your math on who these guys are, and you read up their write-ups and what they're being said. I'm making those guys the way you read what you read and is what you're gonna see 9 out of 10, right?
Gave a bonus info on one of them on Real Talk
Yeah,
last year,
Will
talking
Campbell.
about last season on Will Campbell as well. I drafted offensive lineman the first three picks. One was a top 10 player in the draft who slipped towards the end of the first. One was Will Campbell, who you said you changed his name. You gave out scoop in him on one of the Real Talks. Gave out scoop on him. And he was a top offensive lineman out there. And that he was one of them, and I still took another chance. Did a little homework, found another.
But when you drafted the three linemen, did you do your homework on those linemen before you picked them? When the
I
lineman that was
definitely,
there for you that you picked,
I
how many
definitely
of those
did.
linemen when you got to pick them, you was like, how is he still there? Oh my God! How many times that happened? Was it all three
Um,
picks like that? Like, damn, they really let me get him.
I was really surprised, all three of them for real. I really thought that Will Campbell would be drafted early just because you gave out the homework on him. Everybody should, if you watched the Real Talk, any Real Talk last season, I think maybe two of the Real Talks you talked about him. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? I really thought he was going to go early. He was a given. But towards the end of the first round, when my pick came, pick 25, I mean, from the actual top 10 list of top 10 players, first O lineman on it was still there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was really surprised he was there as well. So those, I mean, I was like, wow, you know what I mean? The third one just happened to be one of the best left tackles, actually at left tackle too as well.
So
So,
I got a question: if they're a
but you
four-star
know,
wingman, what trade he will be on most likely?
So it's a little bit deeper than just if they 4 or 5 stars and things like that. It's a little deeper because you know as well as I know that there are 3 stars and no stars that become superstars in the league, right?
superstars,
So
right,
what it comes down to is this: the classes will tell you everything. So that's why you hear me saying the 21 class, 22 class. That's where we at right now in the draft, 2025 class. I dig back into the 21 class or the COVID 20 players, right? And what you're getting out of me is you getting those guys. So look at it like this: the 22 draft, the kids that came out of high school at 2022, they were freshmen last year in real life. So think about where we at. We in the draft class 2025 right this point. So they're juniors on the field. Some of them could be redshirt sophomores if they took their redshirt year. So they're either juniors or redshirt sophomores, right? So that means if you watch them, the guys that played, for example, how many of the kids from the 2022 class that you can actually go watch film and they're playing at their college already? Not many, right?
as right, not right,
But the
because they'll
ones
be
that
actual
are,
freshmen,
the ones that are starting as freshmen, now you start looking at 5 stars, 4 stars, 3 stars, and you start to do the math on how many of those guys are actually playing as freshmen, right? Because if they're playing as freshmen, I got film on them. I get to watch.
right?
I don't get to just read what they talking about them out of high school because, as you know, and I know that 5 stars become
That's
busts. Some 5 stars could be the best thing smoking coming out of high school, and they don't do absolutely shit in college, right? You know what I mean? It's a little
yep,
bit easier now with the transfer portal, but in real life, so now you got guys that come out, like, for example, a Travis Hunter. I mean, even though he went to Jackson State, you could say, oh, well, FCS and all that, but where wouldn't he have went in the country and been a day one starter? You know what I'm saying? So that's a guarantee. This is why I always say, I either trade or make moves to get to what I get to a high pick to get the guy I want and then get the fuck up out of there or just move around and trade after the draft. You don't have to do exactly that, or you could try to do that, but you have to do your homework on these guys. So Snake just told you his
and
lineman that he drafted was a
one thing
top 10
that,
guy, right or wrong.
yeah, one was like I say, one was a top 10, and
Does Will Campbell start for LSU as a freshman?
yeah,
Okay. So now you got a freshman on the field starting in 2022, but yet our league, we're at 2025 draft class. So now this kid, presume, has 3 years of starting experience at LSU. 1 year I can go look and see the film on him. The next two I project out, right? So this is how you could tell if it's going to be a superstar, star. You can start to tell a little bit because you do your homework on a guy. So like everybody should be looking as I'm making these players, you should be reading up on them to know what you're getting and know who you're dealing with. Then you should
I
ask
tell
yourself
you,
this: am I going to get high school film or am I going to get college film?
college,
And then you
and
start the
it
draft
tells in
out
the
that
word.
way.
You also got to read in the wording. So like some particular, the third offensive lineman, he had some of the particular wording in me looking him up. I remember specifically it said, he's projected as one of the top, left tackles, but he would be an elite. He was actually also projected to be. He moved around, could play any position on the offensive line,
Yep.
but he was projected as an elite interior offensive line, NFL interior elite interior offensive line. So it was in the word and doing your homework on. And he played as a freshman at every position on the offensive line.
Man. So then you start to like for example, it's guys that I won't bring out early, right? Like then you got guys I could bring out early, and you like, well, he came out early, but doesn't necessarily mean he a dog, right? But if I brought him out early and he got filmed, that means he started as a freshman, right? He got filmed. So for example, this draft class, the 26 draft class, I'm projecting out now because none of these guys they're going to be on the field for the first time in 23. Well, 23 real football season hasn't started yet, so none of them going to have uh real college film, right? So now you got to go back to the high school tape or the guys that early enroll, and then you see them in spring ball, and you see now you got film to watch, right? So now I can go watch what they did in spring football, and then you start to read out and project out on the sites of the those I can't forget the word, but like 24/7 on 3,
24/7. And
ESPN. Like you start reading up on these guys and you start to get a feel of what they are, what they could be. But now that we are at the 2026, now we're dealing with the 23 class from high school as freshmen this year when football really start. So I'm projecting out. We're in 26, so those guys have 3 years on the field now, so they're juniors. Anybody that's from that 23 class that I put in the draft, I'm telling you that they coming out early, right? And then the ones that come out 27 from that 23 class are guys that stayed to their senior year or they were red shirted, whatever the case may be. So then you start to project out. So the farther we get away from where we at in real life, like 2023 season, the farther we get away, the less college film I'm gonna have, and then mostly stuff start coming off of high school and what they're saying about these guys. I mean, you look at any of the sites, they'll tell you what they're projected. Anybody that's a 5 star, how they grade their 5 stars is always 32 5 stars, right? When it before it's said and done, it's 32 5 stars. What they're saying is these guys are projected to go in the first round of the NFL draft when it's their draft, when it's their time to be in the draft. They're projected to go in the first round, right? That's what the 5 stars are saying. So you're always gonna have more 4 stars and 3 stars than you are gonna have 5 stars. You're only gonna have 32 5 stars. Then you start to project those 5 stars and see where they are. And then you got to do your homework and read up on them. Then I start watching high school film, but then I dumb it down because you know as well as I know, 9 out of 10 of them aren't going to do or look exactly as good as they looked in high school when they get to college, right? Some kids got to get bigger, faster, stronger. You know, some kids need a red shirt. There's all types of ways to judge it, but you got to better do your homework. For example, Fo, you sent me your guy and was like, wait, hold up, right? Now I projected him to come out as a junior, right? But then the reason why you was able to get a superstar on your guy is because if a kid comes out as a freshman and don't start at Alabama but get some playing time at Alabama, right? Alabama should be graded. Georgia, they should be graded different, right? If a 5 star go to Colorado is 9 out of 10, he might be a starter year one. But if you go to Alabama, you might sit for 2 or 3 years. Doesn't mean that by the time you do play at Alabama, you're not going to be a top 10 pick. Doesn't mean that. So now you project out. So what I did with your guy, and the reason why I was able to move your guy up to superstar is because you project out. This kid is at Alabama. There's nothing but 5 stars, 4 stars all over that roster right now. So even if I don't see him on the field in spring ball, and which I did, but even if I don't see him on the field in spring ball, I start to read up on him. Okay, where's he projected to go? They saying he's the first round. He got first round capability. Bet. All right, now you start to grade out, and I grade some of them schools a little different because the Georgias of the world, the Clemsons of the world, the Alabamas of the world, the Michigans of the world, the guys that are spitting these guys out, right? That's spitting guys out every year in the draft. You know what the capability of them is. So I can project out a little better in that situation, right? So you was able to win because you stuck up and said something, right? You said something. You made me go back and look at it, just like the Seattle Seahawks did with their middle linebacker. He said something. If I go back and read the language that's being said, they telling you who they are. I can get attributes off of reading articles if you pay attention to keywords.
definitely. Oh,
So it's the problem is this: guys wait for the draft and then just draft. They don't give a fuck who the person is. They go look at the combine numbers and see speed or whatever they looking for. They see that, they draft them, but didn't do their homework on them because you can, especially on the offensive line, you can kind of tell who's going to be an ability. And then you always got those 3 stars and those guys that, you're probably not looking at to be a superstar, but they come. Come on, Tom Brady was a 6th round pick, the best quarterback of all time. Now those type of players are throughout the draft. That's why you can get a superstar late in the draft, and you ask yourself, well, how the fuck this guy down here is superstar, but my guy at 5 stars, no way he shouldn't be. He is top 5 lineman in his draft class. Why he ain't a superstar? Well, not everybody's superstars, right?
yeah,
But there
I
are
definitely
projected.
experienced that. I definitely experienced that too, because I definitely took a center before last year. Um, he got drafted in the draft this year. You know, was that the first draft,
Mm-hmm.
John Michael Schmitz, who was projected one of the top interior linemen. And he was a star, but he was still 90 plus strength and everything else. I thought he had a chance to be a superstar, but he was a star. So I mean, you know, just got to do a little bit more. Made sure I did a little bit more homework because I went offensive lineman first and second round, first
Right.
in both my second round picks. I went offensive line early and often.
So I would, when we start to get closer, especially if you're a team that's not in the playoffs, man, that's your time to really go do a little bit of research because you should be making your board already. Like you should already have an idea on what you want or who you want in the draft. Like guys shouldn't take the whole clock in the first round. You should already know who the fuck you picking. And as those guys you want on your board go off the board, you go to the next person that you was interested in, and then do your homework
Especially
on them.
since you don't have to wait for combine, you can actually go look these players up and do homework on them. They're real draft for a reason.
Hmm.
I mean, man,
All right, but not everybody go do it. It's easier. It's just easier to go against the grain. Start looking at your players, figuring out who these guys are yourselves. And even if you don't feel like doing all that, you draft a guy. Then once you got a guy, like it's
Dan
nobody that I
Marino
fuck
had
with.
O-line that started they freshman year in college and some got All-American. I did homework on them but didn't send.
So listen. You got guys that after the draft is over, go. I'm one of them. I go look at guys and watch highlights and all that. All right. So and then the other part is this, fellas. I'm not gonna make a. If you paid attention in this draft, if you go look at the linemen, I didn't make a lot of superstars. You start to dumb it down some. Like you don't want a million superstars coming out. Then everybody superstarred out. You got to give room for guys to develop players too. So this draft, I dumbed it down. Like it wasn't a lot of superstars. I mean, literally, it was two superstar corners. I just threw another corner on superstars. That gave us three superstar corners. There were only two superstar safeties in this draft. There were literally only about five total offensive linemen on ability.
and
Maybe six or seven.
once again, every player is not superstar.
Right.
John Michael Schmitz was an All American football center. He's on
That,
my squad. I drafted him, and he was only a star. Like I
yeah,
said.
like it's a million. Just think about real life draft. How many guys that got drafted that was all Americans? That might not even be a starter in the NFL or not. Might like I gotta project out. This is the whole thing with projecting me. Where I mean, like, so like we listen. It's not if you think about the league, bro. Like there's not 100 Joey Bosa's in the league, and there's not 100 left tackles in the league that should better block a Joey Bosa all the time. So you got to be like Max was. Max won one offensive lineman of the year twice, and his guy went from star to superstar. Like you have to have some sense of development. Like these guys are all pros and they've proven guys for a reason, right? So if you don't get your guy to that, then it is what it is. You got to do what you did, folks. You got a
And not
receiver,
a,
brought him in the league as a star, and went bonkers with him. He's X factor now. Simple as that. That's the develop.
or I drafted a star wide receiver and got a mentorship message in preseason because I shitted with a wide receiver the year before,
It's
and he got a
always,
breakout
but
development message. So that was
but
another rookie
But
that
every
went up.
look, every fucking listen, every player that get drafted don't come into the league as a Pro Bowler already, right? They got to get on the
All
field
right.
and prove it. So we got to have stars coming out. We got to have normals coming out to be able to show,
I get
let
you
them
saying.
develop. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole thing is you got to develop your players. Like if you got if like think about this, think about it like this, Ford. I'm glad you're asking these questions. Think about it like this though. Um, Xavier Smith, your receiver is at this point now, would you agree that he's one of the best receivers in the league right now? And if
Yep.
the answer is yes to that, he came out on star. But after 3 seasons of playing football in this league, he's a proven commodity. He proved that he's the guy in it, one of the guys in this league, right? So you had to get him to be that guy in this league, right? You had to get him developed to that guy in this league. Simple as that. And that's where it comes down to is like That's why we say 30-year-olds, we drop them because at the end of the day, you got to make
Gotta
room
make room
for guys to
for.
better get developed, or you got a guy that you shitting with, but he never going to unlock because we got too many superstars and X factors in the league. So guys, just like it's a lot of stuff that guys think like you can't anything anything that you see in another league or you do in other leagues, you got to throw it out the window because our league is not the same. One, I edit the entire fucking draft class, so anything you think you know or don't know doesn't matter because I'm editing the draft class, right? So I might it might be an X factor that's undrafted sitting on X Factor. By the time I'm done editing him, he's a normal.
I mean, they're just how many X Factors did think about it? How many X Factors, superstars, X Factors, period, did y'all see come out in this draft class?
But you
I
could
haven't.
count since the three draft classes we had thus far. You can literally count on one hand how many X Factors came out. I literally could
No.
tell you the X Factors right now.
Will Anderson,
Will Anderson, Bryce Young,
right?
right? And then the next
B.
draft
John
class
Robinson.
and B.
Oh, he
John
was
Robinson.
superstar.
Nah, B. John Robinson
That's
X
it.
Factor. Yep. And then the next
Okay.
draft class, nobody came out on X Factor. Not one player. But then
Would you put
I put
Khalid
Khalid
Williams?
Williams back to X Factor. I put uh Marvin Harrison Jr. back to X Factor. Anybody else from that class that's an X Factor, they got developed into that.
And the reason was because we point blank told you that if Khalid Bryce Young was on X Factor, so Khalid Williams definitely would have been first pick over Bryce Young and everybody else. And just cause it's tape,
Hmm.
projection wise. Same thing with Marvin Harrison. Even though we didn't draft him, even though he wasn't on our team, you got people from around that actually argued and said, "Nah, these guys should be on there. Period, man. It ain't no way that you got to go ahead and make them on there. At least them two. That's how. That's actually kind. That's how you kind of got your linebacker upgraded as well. Cause
Uh,
we all read up on him and told him, nah, he actually probably should be on this. He really should probably be on there.
uh,
You know what I mean? So
because what I should have did like that type of linebacker where he stood at. See, the problem is this though. For the reason why I didn't pitch a guy on the line on Superstar because from that 22 class, he was ranked number 21, right? Now that didn't mean he wasn't a top five in his class in that class at his position, but as the class is as a whole, he was ranked number 21. So now you see why he was a star. I'm not putting a guy that's ranked 21 on superstar, but then we start to read up on him a little bit more. You start to say, you know what? I mean, he kind of is, bro. Like, and then
some
that's
of
when the
the
heads
some
come
of the
together.
exact wording, on different sites for him, the words that was used for it to describe him and his play, yeah, it was impressive.
You know what I mean? And then there's some bias, like for example,
Right.
for example, Fidel Diggs. Fidel Diggs hasn't been a full time starter yet, right? But I go back to and watch the Alabama game and he's playing against nothing but five stars, and he had caused three fumbles and had like four sacks in that game, and then he's from my hood, so it's like superstar. You get what I'm saying? Like, so you get some of that too, but then it's not me just saying, oh, he's from my hood, so he's a superstar. But what it is me projecting out. This guy, to me, this guy could be that type of guy that'll be,
Yeah.
the Tom Brady of the league, where he's a 6 round pick, skinny guy that nobody care about, don't nobody know shit about, and then all of a sudden he's just won the most Super Bowls than anybody in the world. You know what I mean? Like those type of players are in the draft, so then I gotta project those type of guys. That's why you might catch a guy uh that that's down 3rd round pick or something like that. He's projected to go in the 3rd round, but he's sitting on a superstar. But the whole thing is projecting out, bro. Like, so it's like you guys do your homework as well. I'm not everybody gonna get a yes. Like, we dug a little deep for you, fo, in that situation. Like, I just dug a little deeper, and then I had people around me digging with me, and key things popped up that said, you know what, he right. But ranked 21 coming out, so I'm bringing him out early, and he's the 20. Like, maybe I shouldn't even have brought him out early. I should have left him for this draft. Then if he came out on this draft, then he's a superstar right away. You get what I'm saying? Like, I brought him out early though. So you're looking at those guys that are in that top five top five in their class. So the 22 class, top five. Well, Travis Hunter was the number one player in that draft class. Well, what do you think he's going to be? Right. The next person up was Walter Nolan. Hillberg's drafted him. What do you think he's going to be? By the time you get to like the top 5 to 7, now you're seeing where your superstars are right now, right? So you got guys that were in the top 10 to 15 on the offensive
Yeah,
line, like
offensive lineman was
Ernest
definitely top
Green,
10, like Josh Connerly.
who came out on star. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Josh
Ernest
Conley was in
Green,
the top 10,
Josh Connerly was in the top 10.
but Ernest
And he
Green
slipped toward the
was
end
in
of
the
the
top
first.
10, and he came out on what, star? Wasn't that the guy you drafted on star? Ernest Green, Snake,
Yeah, yeah.
right? And came out on star. Some of you guys just see a guy. Well, yo, man, he's 85, or he was projected to come out in the first round, and he only on star. And I will hope that when you go back and watch this, and guys that didn't watch it now that will watch it later, you guys understand how we grade our guys, like how I grade the guys, and and then I come back and I'll have no problem looking at a player and figuring it out. Like, hold up, all right, yeah, you're right. But some of these guys ain't gonna sniff the field, but we're projecting out. Yeah, think about it. I made how many? I've been making these same guys since Madden 17. I've been making these same guys since I started real draft. Right. By the time every time we get to a new disc, those players are either in college playing already or and it got film already. And then some of those guys, like think about it, like a Puka Williams. I know all y'all that been in my league remember since 20. Remember Puka Williams. But by the time he got on the game for real, Puka, they still made him fast and all that. So the way I built him wasn't as what they didn't build him as good as I built him, but they don't build none of their players as good as I built him. But the speed wasn't that far off. He just not a starting running back in this league, what he was in our league. All of us got players that, for example, Eli Stowers. When T drafted him, he came out on superstar and he was faster, right? But now Hoodie got him. He got a real player who has real film now and just transferred out of the school he was at to a new school, and we waiting to see what he's going to do right now. Like they project out because each year you'll notice that some of these guys change. I don't make them the same every year because we was making some of these the guys that are coming out in this draft right now in the last draft. I'm talking
Some
about the
guys are made
23
off
class.
high school
Those
film, and
guys was
some are
made
made off
from
college film.
those guys were high school players 2 years ago. Think about that.
Changes
Everybody that
each
Bryce
Madden.
Young,
More info.
C.J. Stroud, all those guys were high school players 3 years ago. So then you go back to Madden 20, Madden 20. These guys were high school guys, and I was grading them out on high school guys. And some of them we got right. Some of them is a no-brainer. They're going to be dogs in college. You can see it. And some of
Some of
them,
them got better.
like,
Some
did
of them got
anybody think
worse.
DJ Ugalele was flirting with Bryce Young as the best quarterbacks to come out of their class? Well, what DJ
Yeah.
Ugalele look like
What's
right
what's
now?
what's my other boy name? Spencer Rattler.
Spencer
Look at
Rattler.
look at the highs and lows of his college career.
Hmm.
How he was made 2 years ago versus how he was made now, because he actually has real more film out there. He done had
He
the,
he came out his redshirt freshman year and went fucking crazy, and then the very next year, Khalid Williams took his job, and then he transfers to South Carolina, and he's raising his draft stock back up again. Now he's balling out again. So, what I mean, look at Jaden Daniels. Arizona State, his freshman year. I mean, come on, coming out of high school, this guy threw 100 touchdowns in his senior year. You think I wasn't making him a superstar right away? But then look, Arizona State, he come out and freshman of the year, they start talking about Heisman with the guy with Herm Evans. Then he just fell off out of nowhere. And then resurrected his career at LSU under what's the coach name they got now? Brian something. But he resurrected his career. Now they talking about him as a dark horse Heisman winner. Right? So guys change, they change, right? Like I didn't make listen, the Broncos drafted Jaden Daniels. He ain't come out on superstar because now we know who he is. We got real life stuff to look at now in college, and these again. So and eventually, you know, Let's say Travis Hunter don't go. Look at Justin Flo. No, first of all, nobody ever got to play with Justin Flo. I will always draft him too, right? I would jump up in the draft and make sure I get Justin Flo every year. Hardest hitting linebacker in the draft, 95 speed, 95 excel, all that shit, right? Making him a dog. Look at him now. He came out on star like a motherfucker, 86 speed, motherfucker. He's still a hitter. They ain't go nowhere. But I mean, he stayed hurt at Oregon. So because look, even Noah Sewell was always made better. Now we got real combine number on Noah
Real
Sewell,
40 time
real
on
40 time
him.
on him and everything. You know what I'm saying? So things change. Noah Sewell wasn't a top five linebacker in this draft. Look where he went in the draft. What round did he go? He's not a superstar anymore. Although he jumped into college and was a fucking All American as a freshman in college, he didn't finish his career out like that. It's projecting out now. Justin Flo is still in college, so he got Arizona now. He got a year to redeem himself, even 2 years from the COVID year. They can redeem themselves. And hopefully he does. 'Cause that's my guy. And then maybe next time we make him in Mad 24, he's ready to go because he'll be in the next draft class. So you get real combine numbers on Justin. Some of these guys we had running 4.5s and all that, and they really 4.8 guys. Like I can go far as a guy receiver like JoJo Early. We used to never make JoJo Earl under 96 speed. But we got real combine numbers, laser tag combine numbers on them now. These guys 94 speeds, that's still fast. But if you run a 4.38, that's closer to a 4.4. Why would I make you, because you ran a 4.38, why would I make you a 97 speed, 96 speed because it say 4.3? Well, that's closer to a 4.4 last time I checked, so you closer to a 93. If you run a 4.27, that's closer to a 4.3, but 96 speed. In some cases, 95, depending on what that 4.2 look like. If it's a 4.29, I could make that a 95, no problem. And then remember, this is our first time starting over too. Like when we was doing the real draft classes from Game of Thrones last year, we already all had 99 out teams. So if I brought a guy out that was under a fucking 90 already, you ain't gonna play him. You're not putting no 75 on the field. So we had to make guys faster, bigger, and stronger for you to play with them because we
And
kept the same
uptraded a
rosters.
lot of guys and uptraded guys a lot.
Hmm.
A lot of normals were stars, a lot of stars probably made extra stars was made superstars
Hmm.
to make them relevant to where the league was. So with this league not trying to give up, not trying to super overkill it with superstars and give people chances to grow and room to grow.
Like, look at it like this, though. Here's the last thing I'll say to you because I'm glad you participating. I'll be mad if I go out there with Xavier Smith and I hold the records and receiving yards and touchdowns with the guy. Records that still ain't been broke yet, and T been fucking going crazy with Trey Palmer, and your record still ain't been broke yet. Wouldn't you be mad the fact that you had to do that yourself, turn him from a star to an X factor? If this draft class right now and I make five guys with 97 speed on superstars already, you'll be mad, right? Like, damn, Xavier Smith had to work for that shit. I had to work for that. Got to build it. I'll be mad is what I'm doing with Will McDonald on the edge, 40 sacks a year with the guy, and I just bring 10 more guys in like that with no issues like that without getting them built to be in that. You'll be mad because there's
Yeah.
no work done in that situation.
Now, if you want to, you could actually go get something decent for him if you really decided you wanted to trade him.
Right. But in real life, there's not 25 Joey Bosa's in the league. There's not 25 Nick Bosa's in the league. There's not 25 uh,
Him and ISO.
left tackles. You know what I'm saying? Like that's all pro. Like there's not too. What's the guard from the Colts?
Quentin Nelson.
There ain't 20 Quentin Nelsons in the league at
But
all.
yeah, fo, yeah, fo. Just like him, Andy ISO. Even what I'm doing, what I did with Quentin Johnson. If
Mm-hmm.
we wanted to go out there, if we wanted to go out there and trade them guys, they actually still have value.
Mm-hmm.
They have real value out there, man. And we built guys.
Because you're not gonna find that in the draft. Like most of the receivers that come out the draft, you gonna have to build. They gotta be special. They gotta be a Marvin Harrison. They gotta be a Zay Flowers. They gotta be those type of
Yeah.
guys for you to have to. And you, with that being said, you still gotta build them. But if you get a come on, bro. I just got the bull squirrel White, and look, my boy Kevin Coleman was in this draft. You all know how I feel
Yeah.
about Kevin
Hey,
Coleman.
look,
Star,
Kevin Coleman on star.
94 speed. Kev
Think in
never came out
95.
no slower than a 97 ever. Every time I made him, he's been 97, 98 speed superstar. And now he ain't in. He got film. He started as a fucking freshman. So it changes. Things change, man. But you got to do your homework.
Yeah, he do
Simple
his
as that.
thing in Louisville.
hmm So with that being said, that's our show, man. We give out some gems, man. Without giving out gems, we give out gems. Good morning. See y'all on the lunchtime show. Holla at us.